Timothy Angelo Blumquist, a.k.a. Timmy Angelo,
The full name.
a.k.a. Timmy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So a lot of people don't realize this, but you are the original OG jacked up drummer.
Like official original, or was there?
I'm pretty sure you're the original in the sense that we became a band and we were marketing ourselves.
Fair enough.
And I mean, we may have played with some cat in the studio, but
Right.
you were on the road as jacked up.
There was a trove, from what I remember from the stories, a trove of people before me, kind of coming in and out like a little revolving door.
Well, we're going to cover that. The first thing we're going to talk about is what a great drummer you are. And you've been drumming for a long time. So we're going to get into your history. We're going to talk about some of the bands from Los Angeles, California,
Yes,
where you were there for all the fun 90s.
it was. Yes, it was everything that they said it was.
We're going to go there. I'm just doing a little intro now. So
Yeah.
you currently fill in with a lot of bands in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. So
I do.
I'll see you
A few.
like, I won't see you for a few months and all of a sudden I'll come into a pub and you're sitting there with, say, Cabana Dogs
Yep.
filling in.
Yep.
So that's a great testament to your abilities that you can, people feel that you can jump in at the last minute and, you know, put on a good show.
I'm the guy like third or fifth on the list. So yeah, it's like nobody else can do it. Let's call Tim.
Yeah.
It's like I'll do it. I may know it, I may not know it, but it's going to be fun.
Well, the good thing about the Cabana Dogs and Jimmy C is that he's a great guy to play with because he truly is a rock star, man, and he plays rock and roll. And he could be spontaneous.
Jimmy's good dude. He's definitely spontaneous. He's actually one of the first people I met when I moved to Sarasota, Bradenton in 2010. I moved here. Met him probably late that year, 2011. Yep.
So it's been, what, 13, 14, 15 years, man?
Yeah.
So how long do you think it's been now since the Jacked Up? Has it been 6 years? Did Jacked Up start with you 6 years ago? Or was it 5 years ago?
Around this time, 2018-ish, September, October-ish, 2018 is when we first got together. And I think 2019 is when we did one of the first shows.
Because on Facebook, the Halloween show popped up when you were just as...
I was the Joker. That was actually pretty cool because everyone had,
that's a great picture.
Everyone had the costumes like down. Everyone was down.
I'm going to have Kareem put that picture into this podcast.
Yeah.
But DCX was Catwoman.
DC was Catwoman.
I was Bane.
You were Bane.
Marty was Two-Face. And Todd filled in for Larry and he was the Riddler.
Todd was the Riddler. Yep. Larry
you were the Joker and your wife did you up nice, man. You looked really good. You had a great costume.
She does hair and makeup. So I
No,
said, you're going to do the makeup, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we played, was it Chester's Reef back then?
It was not, yes, it was Chester's Reef. It wasn't Rebellion then.
Correct. I missed the old Chester's Reef. We had so much fun there. Dude.
That was a good place. That was a good place to play if it was the right time. It was the right atmosphere. It was perfect.
Plus, I think as a newer band, we were just gelling. Like it took us a while to get tight and to get the audience fired up. But some of those shows, man, like where the owner would come up to us, buy us rounds of shots, tell us how great we were.
That was that night was probably not the first time we played there, but the second time we played there when they bought us all shots afterwards. First time was a little. There
was one show where our singer went off the rails. I think we were all too drunk.
That was probably very possible.
You come up a lot in a story that I tell, so I don't drink on stage anymore. In fact, I don't really drink at all. Period. But back then, I was drinking a lot. I mean, during the early days of Jacked Up, it wasn't uncommon for me to put a bottle down right by you.
Oh,
and
no.
You and I would share and do shots in between songs.
Yeah, no,
it was
totally
ridiculous.
Insane. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
And it showed.
I don't recommend that.
No, no, it totally showed. No, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, look, you know what? You have to make those mistakes, dude.
It's, again, it is what it is. You got to do it.
You know what I learned though? And just as a cover band, in the beginning, it was about me, right? It was about us as individuals. And then you start realizing, wait a minute, I want to be an entertainer, right? I want to be a performer. So now it's about the crowd. It's about the music. So now you start looking at things differently. It's like, it's not about my buzz. And it's not about the songs that I want to play.
Right.
It's about getting a band together that's going to get a dance floor going, whether it's rock, blues, whatever it is.
Yep.
Get people dancing, get people drinking. The bar owners and bartenders take notice and they get excited because when that band comes in, People are drinking, spending money.
Right.
The bartender can go home with a nice pocket of change because they made great tips.
Right.
So that's what it's about now. It's about moving monies, getting paid. Yes, we get paid, but getting the bar to make a lot of revenue and then
If
wanting us back next time.
if you're not hearing the register, ching ding, whatever you call it, they're not going to want you there. The register's got to be bringing. And again, look, let's be honest. We're there for 8 hours a night sometimes. Depending on what it is, you're there for 2 hours on a load in. Then you play for 4 hours, with 3 sets. You got a couple of 20-minute breaks, 2, 3, depending on what it is. By the time you load out, it's another hour, hour and a half. You're there for like 7.5 hours. You can't be getting shit-faced the entire time. Now, we didn't get completely shockered the entire time, but there was times that we probably drank enough by the second set that the third set was, had potential of going off the rails. Nothing ever really went off the rails. But again, we were loose.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Wouldn't recommend that now because again, that's a long time and then you got to drive home. And again, it's not smart.
Yeah. Plus we're just cover bands, we all have day jobs, right? So it's like
a 45-minute set, you can get plastered and probably play through no problem.
Well, here's what we do. We do 3 1-hour sets, right? And
That's pretty standard.
We should take a half an hour break in between, but now we're realizing that half an hour is too long. For an example, I think a break should only be 20 minutes. Now, granted, I'm not a lead singer and I don't need to rest my voice. Yeah. But I think that 20 minutes should be max, and I'll tell you why. It's about getting people there, getting them drinking and dancing, and then not having them leave.
Right.
And if they're sitting around waiting for you to come back on and then they got to go,
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Now, when we play the Gator Club, we play late, so we'll do 3.5. So we'll do an hour, then we'll do 90 minutes, then we'll do like another 90 minutes. So we're doing like it's a longer duration.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's the festivals where it's just, someone will say, okay, give me a 90-minute set.
Yeah. And you blow through it. You do it.
The adrenaline is high.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
We love doing the seafood festivals.
That was fun.
And,
Leaping Larry.
Yeah, right.
There's still that picture still floating around there of him just.
Yeah, I think that as we've gotten older and we got heavier, I think we're doing less leaping these days.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it nowadays.
But so the original lineup was myself.
Yep.
Right. And I think it was you. Well, Larry was there. Dana was there. Right. Mayhem. And I think you were the 5th.
Mayhem came probably about a month to 2 months after. The core 4 was you, me, Larry, and Dana. And then we added Mayhem. We wanted another guitar, so we added Mayhem. And then Mayhem was gone. And then Todd came in. And then I think somewhere during the time of that, we had brought in the second singer, Marty. So we had brought Marty in somewhere during that time. And I can't remember if it was before or after Mayhem, during Mayhem. I think it was all pretty much together where at one time we were a 6-piece.
That's right. We went from 4 to 5 to 6,
right.
Back to 5.
Yep. And then it went from 6, then it went down to 5, and then it went back to 4, and then it went to this, and before you knew it, it was just a.
So back then we were doing a lot of shows, right?
Dude, it was ridiculous.
I was booking us every weekend. So we were doing basically 8 to 10 shows a month. And at first I thought that was a good thing, Yeah. Now I would never do that. But back then I was excited.
It was,
I had a lot of energy. I saw the potential for money. You know? We were each making some pretty good money, at the end of the month.
No, we were certainly making money.
The one thing I didn't realize at the time was that our fans, whether they're just a casual fan or our regular fans, we're going to get sick and seeing us so much. So some of that tarnish goes off because if you're playing every weekend, the excitement kind of starts coming off.
My philosophy is if you're going to play every weekend, and kudos if you do. I know there's plenty of friends of mine that's what their gig is and that's what they do for a living. Play as much as you want, whether it's a solo, duo, band, whatever. But do it. You're here in this city, town, county. Go 2-3 hours away, play again.
Right.
Go 2-3 hours. It is, but you start getting stale. Because if somebody can see you next week at a place that they may prefer better, they're not going to go to this place.
Or how about this, Timmy? How about this? What if you're playing a Friday night where there's a cover charge, right? But then you're playing Saturday night, not too far away where there's not. So now people are going to be like, well, why should I go pay the cover when I can go the next night and see him? So yeah, to your point, you're right.
You can oversaturate. easily, unless you have enough material that you're not doing the same
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
You know,
But you know what's funny?
4 hours of music for one night. No, guess what? We have another 4 hours over here for this show. Great, that's fine, but people are not going to want to see the same stuff
Well, it's funny
over and
because a
over.
lot of the people that sit in that chair that I interview that are in bands, and I'll say to them, you know, what does your set list look like? How many songs do you have? You know, what do you rotate? A lot of them will play most of their songs every single night. There's
Yeah.
only a couple songs that maybe they'll sub out.
Yep.
Whereas Jacked Up, now we're at a point where we can actually do a country set. We could do a Donna Summer disco set. So we have the ability now to insert
Which
stuff.
now there's 6 years of material.
Right.
Back then it was like, do we got 35 songs?
I know.
Do we have
Do you
40
remember?
songs? Oh, now there's 50 songs. Okay, let's not do these two. Let's do these three. Yeah. And again, dude, we were doing 8 to 12 gigs a month on average. And then once Larry left, it was like maybe we did like a couple without
What do you
Larry
mean for like his summer break or something?
for his summer break. So we would do a couple without of that. And I was like, oh yeah, oh sweet, no gigs. And then all of a sudden, and gigs. And then I had Quinn. We had Baby Girl,
Right.
where it was like, dude,
Not yet, yeah,
I'm
right.
not doing. I can't
Right.
do these
That's right.
this many gigs.
That's right.
And it was, because it gets too much. You get burned out. Dude, we did 3 gigs on one weekend. We did a Friday night gig, or it was either Thursday or Friday night, and then we did a double on Saturday or a double on Sunday. I can't remember what it was, but we did like 3 within like a 30, 2-hour period or something ridiculous. It was like, that was too much. And even Dana was like,
Well, we made her take prednisone.
you're right. Take this, you'll be fine. Drink up.
Well, it's funny because so far I've had Dana on the show, I've had Larry on the show, so now I have you. So,
Right.
I'm having the OGs come in.
The OGs.
And you know what I'm thinking about doing, man? I want to do a Jacked Up set with the OGs.
Let's do it.
You know
I
what
would
I'm
do
saying?
it.
Like, in
Absolutely.
the future, maybe like sometime in first quarter.
Yeah.
We'll do a venue where like we all hang out normally and we'll practice, maybe like a week before.
Yeah.
Because like some of those Foo Fighter songs, we used to nail those out, hit them out of the park. The problem is that unless you're playing those regularly, you could easily forget them and the timings, right? Because some of that stuff
dude.
is pretty tough.
Oh, dude. Yeah. We did a thing New Year's Eve, and everyone's like, "Oh, let's just do the Everlong," and
I
I'm
know.
just like, "Bro,
They remember me? I
seriously?
was like, I was nervous. I was like, because I played with you that on New Year's Eve.
uh-huh,
I got
uh-huh,
up and someone's like, "Oh man, just play this." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I forgot what it was." So I take my phone out and
uh-huh,
I have to look up the chords. And then once I saw it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember this."
uh-huh."
But at first I panicked,
Oh, I was panicking while I was playing. I'm like, this is gonna get ugly. I just know it
And
is.
it's funny because you weren't drinking that night.
No,
Yeah.
no, because I don't. Again, I'm happy-go-lucky guy when I drink, but I also got a long drive, so I don't want to be driving.
Would you also say that now that you're a daddy, that perhaps maybe you don't want to wake up with a hangover? Is that part of it too?
I can wake up with a hangover at home. I don't wake up with hangovers typically, unless when I get a hangover, it's because I'm mixing colors.
Well, I just think that my friends that have kids have a tendency to like, they say, "Okay, I'm not going out Saturday night because I want to stay home and do stuff with the family." Which
I
is
would
fine.
just, I would
is
just,
totally
I would
cool.
just rather be at home with baby girl
Right.
and Alicia. It is so much easier doing that. And again, trust me, we'll stay at home and we'll get banged up. But we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to deal with anything.
Sure,
We don't
sure.
have to do this stuff. Baby girl is at the age now where she's like, she's totally self-sufficient. She's got the run of the house. She doesn't, she's not, crammed up in a crib anymore. So we're able to keep our wits about us and still be at home, And when I say banged up, it's not like we're just sitting there, slobbering. We can easily just sit there and, have a bunch of
Enjoy
drinks
your-
and
enjoy your house,
enjoy
yeah.
the house and
Right.
enjoy our company.
So after a couple of years with Jacked Up,
Yep.
You and the lead singer at the time, Marty, left to form a band called Leadfoot Gray.
We did. Yep.
And I was actually very impressed how you guys marketed that thing and how quickly that took off because
Yeah,
you guys had a huge following very quickly.
we
and,
did.
And it got to a point, and then after you left that project, that following even kept growing. And it got to a point where I think that it was like everybody's wearing the shirts and the places are sold out, and
It was, yeah, it got off a lot quicker than I imagined it to be. Because again, even you go back to when you and me first started talking, it was like, look, this is my goal. I want to take something and I want to turn this town upside down. That was always my philosophy. I didn't want to just be the regular guy that's just, hey, we're just going to go out and play. And no, if we're going to do it, we're going to take this and we're going to do that and we're going to do it right and knock the town on its ass, so to say. And that's kind of what the goal was with that.
And my philosophy is I was sorry to see you guys leave because at that point I think we were hitting our peak. But I knew your
Absolutely.
background and I knew that you liked harder rock.
Oh yeah.
And to this day, it's obvious you're a hard rock drummer and you cover
Yeah.
hard rock material.
I'm not everybody's
And
cup
I
of
knew
tea
that
for sure.
Marty, you know, he kept telling me during the jacked up days, hey man, I want to do this, I want to do this. And we were doing things that he didn't want to necessarily do.
Hmm.
We were doing more rock, more basic FM rock, you know, nothing like LA, you know, Sunset Strip kind of stuff.
Right.
So you guys had an appetite for that. And the cool thing is, man, that the audience certainly did too. Because I
It
mean,
was
I was like, wow, I'm like, people are hungry for some of the hair metal and some of the 80s rock.
it was and the stuff that we were doing was certainly not hair rock. There may have been one or two songs that kind of bled into something like that, but it was more like the heavier 90s alternative where, you know, obviously the Alice in Chains or, you know, Stone Temple Pilots, but then you start getting into, you know, a little bit of Godsmack and you get into a little bit of that. So yeah, it's definitely started leaning towards the heavier stuff for sure. And that was always my sweet spot. I always preferred to do the harder, heavier
Right.
stuff.
Which was different than the formula that Jacked Up was using at the time
Oh
with
yeah.
a female singer predominantly doing her most of the singing. It was more of a Pat Benatar, you know, let's do some
But
you know,
again, we were fine with doing
MTV's
that,
rock, more or less.
but it was a little bit harder. It was a
Right.
little bit heavier.
Edgier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And that's
so it
always
fits your style.
yeah.
So when you announced that you were leaving, yeah, I was sad to see you go, but
Right.
then I was like, I understand. And then when I saw you guys, I was like, wow. I mean, at one point, me and Larry, I think it was might have been at the Gambino's place there,
Rebellion.
Chester's Reef, or did it become Rebellion at that point?
It was Rebellion by that point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, man, you guys had a freaking line to get in.
Yeah. That was that might have actually been the first or second show we did. And actually it was the first show. No, it was yeah. Because the first show we actually had Carlos with us. The guitar player.
Yeah. And then you
'Cause
had
Carlos was
then the Mac
before
Daddy
Shane.
guy came on,
Then Shane replaced Carlos. Yeah.
and then Mac Daddy split.
Whatever happened after I
Yeah.
left, I just
You know, it's funny. I lost touch with all those guys. I mean, I lost touch with Marty. I occasionally see his wife Rita, or I should say his ex-wife Rita. But I don't see like you know any of those other guys really.
I know I've ran into Rita a couple of times at shows. She came, I filled in with Sunset Strip at Dean's on the night of the blue screen of death.
Yeah, I heard about that. We'll talk
Um,
about that in a second.
Then there's not much to say. It was just
No, but I felt really bad for you guys because you guys were geeked up to do a show and you had an electrical problem.
yeah, it was Johnny calls me up and he says, bro, I need you to, he says, double booked, whatever. He says, I need you to do the show. I'm like, 80s? I'm like, let's go, let's do this. No problem. And then we were set to go on a particular time, and it was like the weekend before Independence Day. And then all of a sudden it was storm, shit's not working. And I'm like, we didn't go on till probably hour and 45 minutes after the scheduled time. And then once we went on, it's like a few songs were good and a few songs were bad. And it was just never,
Yeah.
it
Look, we've all had those kind of
it was,
nights.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
I
happens, man.
I felt bad for the guys because they really wanted to be in that space at that place.
But
and
but they've gone back since and they've crushed it.
I don't know if they have, but I'm sure that if they did, they definitely
I believe they have,
definitely
yeah.
killed it. Again, they're a great band. They're all great guys. It was one of those nights that just is, oh, this sucks. This is not good. You know, they obviously got paid. Everything was good, but yeah.
Well, their fans are loyal.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I get a chance and I'm not working, I'll go see Sunset because I like
Right.
those guys a lot, just like you. There's also a band called the Lost Boys
Yep.
that I'm friends with those guys
Yep.
too. Mike Saloy is a really good drummer.
Mike was the mortgage broker on my on our house when we
There you
moved.
go.
Yep.
He's going to fill in on drums for us.
Nice.
Coming up soon.
Can't go wrong with Mike.
Borgie is such a great Mark Borgmeyer is such
Yep.
a great guitarist that he's like doing original metal stuff. In
He's on
Germany.
tour. Yeah, he's on
Crazy-
tour somewhere. Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know the other guys yet. I got to get to know the other guys in the band. But then, so I also like a band called Rock Candy.
Mm-hmm.
They're more of like a Lee County kind of Fort Myers, Cape
Yep.
Coral band.
Yep.
But I see them at a place called Twisted Fork, which is my favorite venue.
Yeah.
The great thing about Twisted Fork and Jacked Up plays there is that it's a huge stage with a big sound system.
Oh yeah.
and
We played there plenty.
we do night shows, we do day shows,
Yep.
we mix it up. And actually, Marcus Parsley, I'm getting him on the show.
Mhm.
He's one of the owners. He's their
Yep.
brothers, and he plays the I think the trumpet, and he plays in a band out in Jacksonville. And he
Nice.
tours with that guy JJ Gray and the Mofro.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I've heard
it's
of
pretty
them.
cool.
Yep.
And then his brother
Couldn't tell you what they
Bert.
do, but I've heard of them.
Bert plays drums sometimes when the Gas House Gorillas, who is like that's like the house band there because they're like twice a month. And they're great Gas House Gorillas. Have you seen them?
It's last time I saw them was probably Sandbar when LFG had a show at White Elephant the same night.
And then you went across the street.
And all of a sudden it's break. It's like, let's go see Gas House
Renee
Gorillas.
is awesome.
Yeah, she's
Her
good.
husband,
She's good
Tommy,
people.
plays drums. Super nice guy.
Yep.
I feel so bad for them because they had their restaurant got kind of smashed in the storm.
Yeah, they're down there near the.
But she's good people.
in the
I
thick
saw
of
them
it.
recently at Stottlemyre's, and I went up there to catch them recently. And Mike Zimmerman was there, so him and I
Yep.
were hanging out, catching up. And
Love Mike.
so the great thing about this market, and I was having this conversation with Mike, is that we all know each other.
Yeah.
We're all friends. Everybody can help each other out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great to know that. You know,
It's funny. Mike has been one of the biggest advocates for me playing. He'd call me up. He'd be like, why aren't you playing? Can you fill in for me? Supposed to do this night. Supposed to do that. But he would always be like, why are you not playing? Why are you not playing? And he would always tell people, call Tim. And finally I got him. I pigeonholed him one night at Joyland. And I thanked him profusely. I said, look, I love you. I said, and I appreciate it. I said, I appreciate you, you sending me all these people. I said, when I find the right project, I'll consider doing full time again.
Sure.
But now it's
people have approached. I know for a fact that other bands have approached you to be the drummer.
Oh yeah.
For whatever reason, it didn't work out, be it logistics or hours.
I probably again, if I'm gonna, I guess, get into it full time, whatever you want to call it, I want it to be the right project. I'm the type of person where I don't fit into every mold because of the type of drummer that I am. I'm like a Smash Mouth type drummer. We're gonna rock something. It's gonna rock. Whatever it's gonna be. I don't care if it's 60s, 70s, 90s, 2000. It's gonna rock. We're gonna get people moving. They're gonna be dancing. It's not, we're not just hanging out and just hanging out.
Yeah, you're not doing
playing.
blues or Grateful Dead shit.
Yeah, I'll do the blues, but the blues are gonna rock. And that's the difference. So when I find something.
You still sing when you play? Remember you had the mic. Remember you had the mic.
No, big. I will still. I will have it if need be. I will go back and I will prefer not to do it because to me personally, I never should have done it. It was fun when I did it and I loved singing, playing those certain songs. I mean, I did do the bucket list by getting up at Rebellion when Duncan came to see us one night.
And you sang.
And I sang the AC/DC and he went on the drum set and it's like, all right.
I remember that.
I've been a lead singer of a band now. I'm done. Moving on.
Well, the thing is, you do have
which
a good
was the
voice.
biggest mistake of my life.
You do have a good voice, and you can hit some of the high notes. Like you have an amazingly high voice. People probably don't realize.
I do have a high voice.
Yeah, you can get up there.
But I suck at singing.
Well, look, singing's hard. I mean, I'm a bass player. I sing. I only do limited stuff because that's all I can do. I mean,
right.
I'm not going to start doing stuff I can't do and embarrass myself.
No. Again, for the Bon Scott stuff, I could do a couple of those.
So, do you remember some of the older days, like Freckled Finn? Man, great place. Remember, we would drink a couple beers in the alley. We'd go out. We'd look out. All of our friends were in the audience, right? Family, friends. It was a tight little space, but it was always a good crowd there. For
Freckled Finn always had a good crowd. There was only like one show that was ever like, oh, hope it's going to be okay, But again, it was a great spot. All the clubs we played were really good clubs. There was a couple clubs that weren't my particular favorite places, just because of noise ordinance. You can't.
Do you remember the 5-0 Club?
I do.
That was fun.
That was the 5-0 was fun.
That was like our first show, I think, was a 5-0. Because then it was Chester. I think it was 5-0 and Chester's were back to back. Or was it Chester's 5-0? It was something like that.
There was, Chester's was the first show. We were announcing that we were coming out. And then all of a sudden, the 5-0 became. Kelly, Kelly had basically said, hey, I can get you guys in here. And it was like
$300.
Whatever there was, it didn't matter to us. We just wanted to play there. And it was like, well, our coming out of the box show was going to be Chester's. And now we're coming out of the box at Gators. Let's go.
Right.
But again, but that got us into the door at that because you don't want to say no. Much like me still, it's like, hey, you want to play? It's like, I'm 5 on the list. It's like, all right, I'll do it.
But I think we also realized that we were all compatible, and I think we made good sounds together, right?
Oh yeah.
So it was exciting.
Oh no, it was it was
That
fun.
first year was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
You
No,
know,
without a doubt. I don't regret it one bit.
yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
And just recently, it's become fun for me again because I went through a period with I had so many different drummers and singers that it started to becoming a chore and it started becoming a bore and it started becoming like. But now I have a new life because I
Yeah.
have a keyboard player.
Sure.
I have a younger, energetic singer. I have a new drummer. So Larry and I are really happy with this current lineup,
Yeah.
and we're learning a lot of material now, which is great.
Well, now
Because
you've
you got to
introduced.
keep it fresh. You got to take Summer '69. Get it out of there, American Girl. Get it out of there. Like what the fuck, man?
Excuse me. Yeah. No, I know. But again, those are the staples that everybody
But you
wants
know
to
what's
hear.
funny? It's like I said, I sing limited stuff. When we do "Keep Your Hands to Yourself," which is
Right.
probably one of the most played out songs, and I sing lead on that, the freaking dance floor comes to life because a lot of people that
Yeah.
are 60 plus,
Oh
let's
yeah.
face it, that's most of our audience. They like that song. They can relate to it. It's easy to dance to.
Right. They were that way too with the Eddie Money song, Two Tickets to
Two
Paradise.
tickets. I still cover that.
They
once
would
in a
cut.
while.
They would come out there.
Jenny. I still do. The
Okay,
same
you
shit.
could totally retire that song. You could
I still play the
just
same
push
stuff
that
that we
one,
played
yeah.
with you, man. Isn't that pathetic?
Yeah, that would be the type of song that's like, let's just put this on the back burner and only pull it up if somebody says,
Well,
"Hey, can you do
here-
some Tommy Two Tone?"
You know, nobody's requesting it in the audience.
No.
But here's how that works. So let's say it's not on the set list, but yet, like all of a sudden, my singer just sang 4 in a row, and she's like, "Dude, I need a break." I'm like, "All right, Jenny, nah, nah, nah," you know.
Exactly. Again, perfect to pull out that, but I'd probably be pulling out the Two Tickets to Paradise before that one.
You saw us recently at Woody's,
Yeah.
and that was a good show for us because the show prior to that was not a good show. What happened was people complained about our sound and our volume, and it got to a point where, like, the entire night, we're trying to fix this, trying to fix that, trying to fix that. And as a performer, and maybe the drummer doesn't know it because you're kind of back, but I'm on the front line, and the people seem to come up to me, like the manager or the owner, like talks to me in the middle of a song, and I'm like, "Dude, talk to that guy over there with the tablet," you know.
Right. Go see that guy. No, stay away from me when you do that. I'd be like, "Oh, you know what? That's above my pay grade. Go talk to him."
But that's another whole component of this whole thing. So now you got a band together. You all like each other and get along. You agree on the songs.
Yeah.
You get tight on the songs. Now you have to go out and produce it. You have to have a stage. You got to have proper speakers. You got to have
Dude, it's a lot.
someone
It's
mixing
trust
in
me,
the
it's a
front
lot
the
of
house.
work.
You know, you want to have some kind of lighting.
Right.
You got to certainly have some kind of banners.
Right.
You know, so like I am trying my best now to look at the production value of the band. I feel like I built the brand and I feel like people know who we are now
Oh, absolutely.
and we're getting
Yeah.
gigs. But now it's like, okay, you know what? I see other bands. I mean, look, we're never going to have an LED TV behind us. We
You-
can afford that.
You learn and you
But I
evolve.
can probably have better lights. I could probably do like more a spotlight on my singer, you know, like I could probably illuminate people better, you know. So that's where my head's at right now.
Those are things that you eventually get as you go. I mean, again, if you can afford to do it right out of the box, great, do it. If not, you kind of gradually move up and you just get better. You know, the song lists get better, the playing gets better, the lights get better. That all of a sudden, hey, here's a drum riser, cool. Now you're bringing drum risers everywhere. As long as you're playing places that accommodate that, then do it because that just adds the value to the band.
It's funny because we have the fog machines or steam machines. So there's a difference, right?
Oh yeah,
But I forgot which one we have. But we had a singer that wouldn't let us use it for many years. So not for just, I guess, 1 year maybe, because she claimed that it affected her voice. So we're like, damn it, we can't use the damn machines. And then then there was another reason why one of them got broke.
put that shit under the floor, Tom, and just sit there.
I so badly want to use it, you know?
Yeah.
Because like now we're doing sticks and we're doing like some cool shit.
Dude, I was doing drums and fog machine. Remember the fog machine was over my drum and it was underneath my floor, Tom, and
Yeah,
I would just
I
like,
do remember that. And you got to make sure there's like liquid in there before you go on and stuff.
absolutely. Yeah, you fill it up. You got to fill it up. If not, what are you going to do? No fog.
The next thing
You had one job.
the next
One
thing-
job.
Pyrotechnics will be next.
You're not going to play any place here that's going to let you blow
I'm
shit
not
up.
kidding, dude.
But it would be fun. I mean, trust me, it would be fun. Little flash pods.
The one thing I noticed is that summer here kind of sucks performing, right? Because it's just summer.
Dude, it's hot as hell.
But you know what? Now the tourists are coming back, the snowbirds. Well, maybe not so much now with the hurricanes, but you see an influx of people.
no,
right?
they're scared
And
now.
you know how you notice it? You notice it on the dance floor. You see more volume. You notice it in the tip jar.
Absolutely.
Because now, not only is there more tips, but then you're seeing bigger denominations. So like instead of just singles and fives, you're seeing more 10s and 20s.
Yep.
Occasionally you get that $100. You know.
Dude, you got that guy. You hit that perfect guy with his sweet spot, and it's like, Here's a hundo. It's like, thank you.
But some of the best things, man, and I think you can relate to this, man, is like you do a show and then somebody comes up to you at the break or after the end of the show and they're generally excited. They're like, man, you guys are good. You guys are good. You're a good player. Like, I really enjoy it. Like, I still get off on that,
Oh,
man. You know what
absolutely.
I'm saying?
Yeah. We would play at what the heck was the name of the place? Snooks down there. And I'd have guys behind me just like sitting there staring at me. And I'm like,
The Lighthouse
just
Grill, is that what it was? Remember that place?
no. I dude, that place was tough. That place was tough
We
to
always
play.
got yelled at because of the noise there.
Always got yelled at there. That was the only place I was like, okay, I'm going to use hot rods. I'm going
Yeah.
to use hot rods. But yeah, that was no, yeah, we
Yeah,
never should have
you don't
played
like
that
using hot
place.
rods, man.
I don't like hot rods.
I don't blame you.
I will if I have to. I actually just picked up a pair, to be honest with you. Yeah. I literally picked up a pair of hot rods on my way here.
Well, we did Peggy's, we did Motorworks.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Motorworks.
Motorworks was fun.
I miss that place.
Motorworks is an incredible venue. It's very hard to get people engaged there.
Because they're all on the way back drinking.
If you're the Twinkles, if you're the Dr. Daves, and you've got the crowd to get there, where it's like you have a little bit of a built-in crowd, but then you've got people that are coming to see you, it's easy to fill the grass area up in the bottom. But if you don't get that grass area filled up and you don't get people engaged, everybody is so far away, and it sucks because it's such a fantastic outdoor venue. You got to be able to get the crowd there.
My favorite gigs is when we open up for another band. For an example, when we do Twisted Fork, we've
Mm-hmm.
opened up for a Bon Jovi tribute
Yep.
and an Aerosmith tribute.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them had huge crowds.
Right.
So what happened was we would go on, and by the time we were done for our set, because we're on the clock and we got to get off the stage
Sure.
so they can come on, there'd be a freaking 1,000 people out
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And the cool thing
Absolutely.
is that, so I had my 15 seconds, man, where it's like, I'm up there doing a show in front of all these people. I come off the stage.
I saw that picture.
Literally, people are coming up to me and handing me drinks. Girls are kissing me on the cheek, which
Right.
very rarely happens. Well, it happens a lot, but not the pretty ones. That's rare. That's rare.
Hey,
My
just
sing-
getting kissed, you should be happy.
Somebody was giving my young singer champagne, like champagne. Like, that's kind of weird. And
well,
we
she's
were
21, right? I mean, she's old enough to drink champagne, right?
But she's 28. But who's like? I'm so used to people handing me a beer or a shot. Who's going to hand you a glass of champagne?
I mean,
Whatever. To each his own.
yeah, I can
But
get
anyway,
it as long as you put a little bit of gin in it.
It was one of the greatest nights, and I'm so fond of it. And if this thing blew up and if Jacked Up didn't play anymore, I would think about those times and be content that I had a chance to do that.
Oh yeah, no, without again, you're at the point now where you can do all of these shows and you can have the fun doing that, and just dude, you ride it as long as you can. I talked to plenty of people, and that's like their solo acts, and he's like, dude, I'm so busy. I said, dude, ride that until it bucks you off.
Right.
If you're able to get that money and this is your outlet and you don't have anything holding you back from not doing the gigs, as long as you're able to do it. Take the money because it won't last forever.
I think what's moving forward in next year, we're going to just basically do Saturday nights. We're going to try to get away from Thursdays and Fridays.
Right.
And just do a Saturday, like Gas House Grill is a perfect example. Every Friday night, they do their little duet at their restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
husband and wife. And then Saturday nights, full band, and they're booked every Saturday.
Right.
And they'll do an occasional Sunday afternoon for a festival.
Right.
Because we're still doing those seafood festivals, but I got some really good news. I don't know if you know this.
What?
We're opening up for Blue Oyster Cult.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's Thunder by the Bay. Okay.
Okay.
So the opening night is going to be Blue Oyster Cult. So we're the opening act.
Nice.
So we'll go on at 6. We'll play for 90 minutes. And I think they come on at 8.
Perfect.
And they'll do like 2 hours.
That'll certainly be a good crowd.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And I'm really excited to meet those guys. Growing up, I was a big fan, the early stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly they have the radio friendly stuff,
Right.
But Burning for You is
Are they original still?
I think there's 2 or 3 guys are still original.
Okay.
And they're both vocalists. So that's going to be a big thing for us. We're also doing the county fair this year.
Good.
And we're going to headline on a Thursday night. So that's cool.
Nice.
That's at Robards. So, yeah, just like, we're doing bigger, more profile
That's what
things.
that's what you got to do. I mean, let's be honest. If you do those things, it makes it easier. One, the money gets a little bit better. You're not putting the singers or whoever through a bunch of singing 4 hours a night is no easy task for anybody. You can't do it for, say when we were doing the 8, 10, 12 shows a month, it's like, it's fucking 3 hours a night you're singing. That's brutal. Most people are singing maybe, 2 hours if you're a huge band and you're playing for 2 hours a night.
Well, after you left Jacked Up, we went to the two singer. Well, we went back to the two singer format. So
Mhm.
the person that replaced Marty, he sang, and then we still had Dana at the time, so we still had his and her the co-vocals.
He
So
was guitar though too, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so we were able to pull it off because they did it. They were able to complement each other.
Absolutely. And that is the benefit of having 2, singers, but, again, it just there comes a point where you end up getting burned out.
So this year, for the first time ever, we're playing New Year's Eve, which I don't like playing New Year's Eve. I'm one of those guys where I think New Year's Eve is amateur night,
Right.
and New Year's Eve is the type of night where I want to have a nice dinner, and I want to go home and I want to watch now Ryan Seacrest instead of Dick Clark on
Right. I
and
haven't
be in my house at 10 o'clock
watched it in years.
and just be a homebody that night
Sure.
because you always hear horror stories about guys getting wasted, cops on their highway checkpoints,
Right.
and so, but I got talked into doing something. So we're not going to drink that night, obviously. In fact, we may even get hotel rooms because we're going to be going up to like North Tampa slash.
Where are you playing?
We're playing at a private event, in this in
Get
this
a hotel room.
in this community.
So much easier.
Yeah, because I'm not worried about me drinking. Like I'll
No,
be sober,
somebody else.
but some guy on the road maybe have his mind
Right.
and Kareem into me. So I'm just paranoid like that. But that's whatever. But we're doing that. Oh, we're doing our annual Christmas show at Woody's.
All right.
So if you're around Christmas Day, please come.
Christmas Day? Yeah, I
Christmas
won't
Day.
be around.
A lot of people, believe it or not, a lot. Last year, that place was packed on Christmas Day when we played.
No, let me rephrase that. I'll be around. I won't be at Woody's.
Yeah, that's fine. No, you got a family. That's
yeah, baby girls, Christmas Day,
Yeah.
baby girl. Yeah.
But we had a big crowd last year, and it's a fun time to play.
Right.
People came dressed like Santas and reindeers and elves, and they were dancing. And I'm usually bored like after that big Christmas meal. Because as the Italians, we would always eat early.
Dude, yeah.
I would always be
I'd be in a coma.
looking for something to do.
Yeah. No. I'll be like I'll be just wasting away after that.
So now I want to take this interview into the direction of music and bands and your idols growing up. Like
Right.
you were growing up in Los Angeles.
Yes.
So
Yep.
what were you listening to at a young age, and what stirred you into the drums?
One of the first albums I bought was there was actually 3 albums, and it wasn't all simultaneously. It was Frampton Comes Alive.
Great one.
It was Kiss Alive 2,
Nice.
and it was Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Interesting.
All right. No, it's my song taste is
Was it
so eclectic that nobody really knows. It's like he just likes this stuff. It's like you have no idea I like so many different genres for different reasons.
So here's what happened. Prior to all that, you were probably listening to a lot of radio at home in the car as a kid.
Country, because my mom was a huge country fan, and my older brother was into country as well. Not just that, because he had the tape decks and the 8 tracks, like the 120 count cases, and I would steal his 70s classic rock tunes, Kansas, REO Speedwagon, Styx. I would steal his tapes back then.
You're talking 8 tracks or cassettes?
More cassettes than 8 tracks. There was a few 8 tracks.
My brother had 8 tracks.
But he again, he's what is he, 3 years older than me? So again, he was just at that 8 track stage for a few of them. But then when it was cassettes, it was like,
And remember, every shopping mall in
here's
America
this
sold
case.
cassettes.
Oh
like
God.
Tower Records and all those places.
Yeah. No, there was a record store probably about a mile that we used to walk to every day called All American Records. And it was right there by a little tiny, the sub shop, Tiny Submarines, that we would go to all the time.
And they had all the cassettes lined up and down the wall, and you had to get
Uh-huh.
really close to them and read.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I would steal his cassettes all the time. But those, when I actually bought an album, those were my 3 earliest albums that I remember actually buying. Because again, there's some disco that I loved. I don't want to say pop music, but I did love pop. I always just wanted to heavy it up. It's like, oh, that's a really great song. I can imagine just throwing down on that song. But again, that's what it was like. So yeah, my influences then were still pretty broad. I love new wave, Missing Persons. I loved Missing Persons.
So do you consider yourself an 80s guy or a 90s guy when it comes to music?
Eh, I think I prefer the 90s now because I've heard the 80s so much. I love the 80s. Don't get me wrong. That was my jam when I was in it. But now that I'm out of it, it's like I like a little bit of the heavier 90s stuff, I like the slightly I wasn't a big Alice in Chains fan until years after Alice in Chains. I wasn't a big Nirvana fan until afterwards.
So
I'm still not a
you thought about the
huge
Seattle
Nirvana fan.
scene didn't appeal to you in the beginning,
No.
but it grew on you.
It grew on me, yeah. I still, again, Alice in Chains out of the 90s was always by far my favorite.
Pearl Jam was my first experience with that group that you mentioned.
Yeah, Pearl Jam,
album
it's like
10.
it's like music to slit your wrists by. It's like just so
But it was different, man.
it was.
It was different.
It was.
You know what I'm saying?
No
Yes,
fault. They're great
Yeah.
musicians and they've got their place in the world. It just wasn't my
Yeah,
thing.
it wasn't happy.
Yeah,
I wasn't happy.
Alice in Chains wasn't happy to me either, but it was like later it was like these guys were throwing
But
down.
the songs had meaning, the lyrics had meaning, and it was the kind of music that would the back of your neck, the hair on the back of your neck would stand up like it was,
Yeah.
invigorating and electrifying, man.
Yeah, again, I was coming from the 80s, so that was, the hard rock and the hair metal
So like,
or
were you
whatever
into
you
Motley
call.
Crue? Were you into all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I saw Motley Crue 4 or 5 times then. Wasp, Twisted Sister, Iron Maiden, like I think I saw them twice on one tour, the Power Slave tour. So
Just to
yeah.
interrupt you for a second. What are your thoughts on a band like Motley Crue that's still out there when they clearly can't perform and they're probably better off not playing? Do you believe that they could do it, or should they step aside?
Either way, no in between, step aside.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they made a lot of money. They got a lot of recordings. Why
Yeah.
would you want to damage your reputation and suck?
It's a money grab.
I know, but how much money do these freaking guys need, man? Don't they already have like jumbo jets and shit?
Yes, but one thing you got to remember is too, when somebody says, "Hey, we're going to put you on tour with, you're going to go with Def Leppard and Poison," where for
Well-
all intents and purposes, Poison killed it the entire stadium
Are
tour.
you talking about that tour where they were all together?
Well, the first tour they
Joan Jett.
yes.
Is Journey on that too, or no?
No,
I
it
saw
was
Journey and Def Leppard. I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
it was Journey, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett. That was the quote stadium tour. Joan Jett still killing it. Poison.
But I thought
killed it.
Motley was on that tour. I thought.
That's who it was. Yeah,
But
Motley.
not Journey though, right?
No, it was Journey, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett.
Damn.
That was the stadium tour. And again, I saw the end of their end of the road tour, the end of the world,
So
whatever
did I.
it was
Alice
called.
Cooper opened up for him.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Alice
He was great,
Cooper,
by the way.
still killing
And
it.
he's playing at Clearwater. I think
Yep.
he's coming up.
He is. It was a great show. Vince never could sing. Vince was never like, he's amazing. Vince was a showman. In the back in the day, Vince was still hitting what he was
I know,
able to
but
hit.
it's
He
almost like
can't hit
doesn't
it
care
now.
anymore, dude. That's the thing. It's almost like he doesn't give a shit. That's what bothers me, man. He's not trying. I mean, don't you think they should hire a trainer and get him in shape and give him a vocal coach? And
They probably did, and he probably told him to go pound sand. I mean, that's, again, you're doing it for the money. It's hard to say. It's hard to say
Okay.
no to that much money.
right.
Let's be honest.
Plus, after the book came out and they made it into a movie,
it
then
was.
all of a sudden Nikki
they
Sixx probably
re-energized.
ripped up that contract that they signed in blood.
They did.
And said, we're going back out.
Yeah.
So I get it. And people are paying for the tickets. So as look, if you have an audience and they're paying for it,
Yeah.
I just as a fan, and I ask you this question because I know you're a fan, sometimes I just want to remember, David Lee Roth when he was Diamond Dave. I don't want to remember him when he was like,
No, exactly. Dave can't sing now either. Sammy still killing it.
I saw him recently.
It's and again, that's the difference. If you've got it and you're able to do it without, and again, we talked about we weren't going to get into the whole backing track thing, but if you're going to go out there and you're going to do it without backing tracks, great. You might sound like shit a little bit. I'm okay with you sounding a little bit like shit.
Yes.
I'm not, I'm not into you just totally butchering the lyrics that have been 40 years old. It's like you miss a few notes or you miss a few words. It's like, I get it.
Or
we're all getting older.
Timmy? You just bring in a couple backup singers and let them help you as you're doing.
Motley brings in backup singers. They've had backup singers for years.
Girls back there.
But you might as well just get the girls to sing. Let's be honest, because you can't butcher that many words and that many songs. And that's like, oh God.
Yeah.
I look at it, it's like, it's hard to watch, Corey Feldman doesn't butcher that many lyrics.
Corey Feldman.
I mean, let's be honest.
Did you see the Bon Jovi special?
I actually got about a half hour into it. I haven't finished it.
So I'll just tell you the basics here. He wants to come back and he wants to continue to perform at the same level as he did in the 80s and 90s. And he had to have a surgery.
Yep.
And I'm sure with his money, he had the best surgeon in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think he's still having a tough time coming back from that type of surgery. I think that he should just say, look, I'm Bon Jovi. I'm one of the greatest guys in the universe. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. And I'm just going to live on my laurels and I'm going to retire. Why does he have to come back? Why does he have to sing? Like, I'm perfectly fine with his recordings as they are.
When I say some of us, I don't mean to lump myself in that category. Some of us want to keep playing. Some of us still want that. I love still playing in front of people. I don't like the BS that's involved with it. That's where it's like the drama and but
we're not charging
everything.
People either, though. We're just playing for free, basically. I mean,
it's still the same feeling.
They're not paying the customers.
Imagine that feeling, magnitude by the Bon Jovi crowds.
So what you're saying is that he because he is who he is, there's so much people that want him to perform.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe he feels like he has to do it for the fans.
Yeah, and if he tried to help, he tried to get help, he tried to get corrected. If you're able to do that and you're still able to do that when you're able to, and you still have fans that want to see you, dude, go out and do it till the cows come home if you can do it. But if you can't sing anymore, look at Steven Tyler. They had to cancel their tour. He can't do it anymore. He just said, you know what, we're done. Okay, you're done. Kudos, I
agree.
Again, Motley should be either saying, hey, Vince, you either,
Well, I think Nikki Sixx is the mastermind behind that project, and he's probably
he's always been. It's always been his band.
A genius.
Let's be honest.
I'll give him that. He is a genius. Some people don't like him, especially when he got sober, because he can be a real ass. But I respect the guy.
Again, he built a brand. He built it, doing what it was, and in their heyday, they were never the greatest quote musicians. They didn't have to be. They weren't going for, contests or awards. It was like, we are going to be the sleaziest, band. Right. And for all intents and purposes.
They're not trying to win Grammy Awards.
No, but they did.
They won a Grammy?
I'm pretty sure they won a Grammy.
Hey, so let me tell you about two bands that I think are still killing it. The Black Crowes, I saw them twice.
They came back, yeah.
The Black Crowes are still, I think they're better than ever because I think some blues singers get better as they get older.
Sure.
Like Greg Allman's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Before Greg got sick and died, he did something called Back to Macon. You can get it on DVD or it's on CD. And he plays guitar and sings.
People still have DVDs?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you go home with DVDs?
I actually have, dude.
Did you actually pop a DVD at your house and put it in
Yes, of course.
Really?
Of course. Even Blu-ray. I mean, I even get the Blu-ray shit.
Still?
But if I want to see it, I have to put it in there because I don't know what I can go to YouTube and I can Google it.
Right.
But since I already own it and I have the thing there, I just put it in. But whatever.
Oh, fair enough.
But nonetheless, and Sammy Hagar, I saw him twice recently, and he did this Van Halen Greatest Hits thing where he sang Van Halen, Van Hagar, and he even did some of his old solo stuff.
Yep.
And then Joe Satriani, they did one of his tunes, and I was with Jack Trash, our good buddy.
Yep.
And Jack, who's a very popular, famous, DJ, had said to me he couldn't believe how great the set list was because he's very skeptical and critical.
Jack is very critical of that stuff.
He's you know what he said to me? He goes, those are the songs that I would have picked.
Yeah.
And he heard them, so he was so happy.
Yeah. No, again, Sammy's still killing it. And he's, what is he, 75? Maybe it's
Dude,
the tequila.
He just had his birthday. It's on my bucket list to go to the Cabo Wabo Cantina and go to one of his birthday parties.
That would be fun to do.
Now, apparently, he's got a place in Vegas too now. He's like some casino gave him
maybe
like a pool party, some kind of thing where you can go see him there too. I don't know.
Vegas is Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas would be fun to see him too. Wouldn't be like
Vegas
Cabo.
in a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Vegas 3 times in like a year and a quarter. I was like, I'm done for Vegas for a while.
Well, don't you go there on business a lot? Yeah.
Yeah. No bueno. It gets old. It's Vegas, man.
So let's go back to Los Angeles now. So now you're playing drums. You're
Yep.
listening to music. Tell me about your early bands, some of your early bands.
Oh God.
And by the way, we're gonna show pictures in here because you gave
Uh-oh.
me some pictures. You had beautiful hair, bro.
Dude, my hair
You were
was
like a hair.
killing it.
You were like a hair model.
My hair was killing it back in those days.
That was all
Yeah. Now,
natural,
not
man.
so much.
Damn, you had
Just
beautiful locks.
I had that shit pulled back under this thing. If not, I'd look like crazy science guy. No, 80s in Los Angeles and bands were good times. First bands, brutal. You know, it took a
Were
while.
they garage bands, and then they eventually got out to clubs?
None of the garage bands that I were in ever got into clubs. My first real band was probably because I started late. I didn't start playing drums till 15-ish, 16-ish. So I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to that.
But you know what's funny? It's funny you say that because to me that's still young. I guess, but kids today are doing it at like 9, 10, 11, right?
Dude, you're 4 years old. They're just sitting there
Like
slaying. And
John
I'm just
Bonham's
like,
kid he made his kid play drums, and now he's a world famous drummer.
again, but now you're going from like, here's Bonham teaching, and his son. And again, if I had Quinn when I was that age, probably she would have by far surpassed me now. But,
Funny?
having Quinn now at my age, it was like, baby girl, you're going to start, you got to start picking up those things here soon. Cause she's just she'll be 5 in
Give
February.
her an activity, right? Get her energy out.
Yeah. She likes art. She loves art. She loves coloring. She's, stays in the lines and all that stuff. So yeah, I think I'm going to push her that.
Since you brought her up, I was shocked how tall and big and beautiful she got.
Dude, she's a
I saw her at
savage.
Woody's, and I hadn't seen her in years.
Yeah. No, she's talking all kinds of
She was
shit.
dancing in front of the stage.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. No, it is. It's because I remember when the only show, and this is still stands to this day, the only show that I ever canceled not canceled, but that I had to back out of that was booked in my entire life was the one when Quinn was born. And that's when Duncan, rest his soul, filled in for me at Sandbar.
I remember that.
He filled in. That was the only date that I ever backed out.
I remember that.
I still get shit for not backing out of a show with LFG when I planned a trip to Mexico with the Balbos. And all of a sudden, shit, there's a show at Twisted Fork. I can't cancel that. So I canceled going to Mexico. Still get shit every year and a half on that one.
Looking back, that was a bad decision.
That was a horrible decision. Horrible decision.
I actually had the same thing. I was actually on a boat in Mexico, and I was freaking out because Brittany, my new singer, was doing a seafood festival, and I wasn't there for her first show. And I was really nervous because I had no idea what to expect.
Sure.
Hey,
you live and learn.
You live and learn. And plus, Mexico's a wonderful place. Avocados from Mexico.
Yeah. Again, we'd go to TJ all the time living in Los Angeles. So yeah.
So let's keep talking Los Angeles because I find it fascinating because you're walking up and down the Sunset Strip. You're at that age now where you're going to see stuff.
Oh,
you probably saw bands there that were not discovered yet that became famous.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about some of that stuff.
I mean, again, Guns N' Roses, Troubadour. You had Motley Crue at the Starwood. There was a particular venue where I saw so many different acts, and it was in Santa Clarita Valley, was where I was born, which is about probably 40 minutes north of downtown, but still in Los Angeles County. And there was a place called Magic Mountain, and they had the amphitheater there. I remember I saw Aerosmith and Dokken there, passed out during Aerosmith. And it was like, because I thought it was so boring. I was like, oh my God, it was like watching paint dry. I couldn't believe it. Passed out. But I saw.
Well, that was probably when they were doing H back then,
Probably, but again, I mean, Quiet Riot played there. Motley Crue played there. I loved New Wave, Romeo Void, Missing Persons, Sparks. All these bands went through there. It was almost like a particular stop for a couple of summers for all of these bands. And when you have season passes, which were, I think you could buy a year for like $55, $57. You were able to see all of these bands for nothing.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
I'm just looking back going,
like Ron Delsner,
I've
Bill
seen
Graham, promoted it and shit.
Right. Just there were so many bands that came through that I'm just looking back going, dude, there was, I can't even begin to count how many bands just at that venue seeing and going there like every weekend. Oh, who's playing tonight? Well, let's go check out Sparks or let's go, do this.
Were there ever bands, as a two-part question, bands that you saw that you absolutely loved and you fell in love with, and bands that you saw that you were majorly disappointed back then?
Back then, I probably forgot more than I remember. So disappointed. I can only think of 2 instances, and this is in the last 20 years, of bands I was ever truly disappointed seeing that I finally got to see. One was Stone Temple Pilots, and I saw them at the 100th anniversary Harley Davidson in Fontana, California, at
Scott.
California Speedway with Scott Weiland. And that bill was, I think that was Default, Nickelback, Billy Idol, and Stone Temple Pilots.
That's a good bill.
We rode our Harleys down there. It was epic. The show was great. Billy Idol, it was Default, then Nickelback, who again, those guys killed it. Then Billy Idol came on and just lit the place up. I mean, it was him, it was Steve Stevens, Brian Tichy was on drums.
Yeah. Those guys are great.
And
live.
it was like, this guy is the epitome of rock star, and he just slayed the place.
Yeah.
And then Stone Temple Pilots came on afterwards. And it was like,
Buzzkill.
And I'm done. All right.
But they were just flat that night, or was he?
It just wasn't.
He was known to be habitual with drugs. I mean, he had a problem.
When you see Billy Idol come on stage, and then you see Stone Temple Pilots, it was like, dude, it's like Billy sucked all the energy out of that place, because Billy came on like when it was like the sun was kind of going down, so it was like sunset. So it was daytime, and then it was night. And then when Stone Temple came on, it was like just strictly night. And it was just like, okay, I'm ready to go, because this is like, Billy killed it. And now it's just like, meh.
Sure.
And the other band, Daughtry. We saw, I think it was Universal Park, whatever it's called. We had tickets. I was like, let's go see Daughtry. It was a free show. You could sit there on the lawn, just chill out. Oh God. I looked at Alicia like maybe 3 songs into it. It's like, are we good? She's like, yeah, this is not fun. I said, it was horrible. I couldn't, and I was
what was he doing? Was he playing like
it was
or some shit?
No, it was just real blasé. It was just there was no umph. There was no punch.
Balls.
There was no balls to it. And again, I've seen Sheryl Crow, so it's not like I was looking for anything, electric, but it's like, I want to just see something. It just didn't feel it. And it was bad.
Other people felt the same way in the audience?
He was, maybe. I mean, he was certainly a little off that night. Maybe he was sick the week before, but again, it was just a huge letdown, because I liked Daughtry. It was fun. And I was like, okay. Second concert, it's like, this sucks, moving on. But yeah, those are the only 2 bands that I can really remember seeing that it was like huge disappointment after wanting to see them for so long,
So now we get to the section called Rapid Fire, where I'll ask you questions and you have to fire out your answers.
All right.
What are your top 3 albums of all time?
Oh, dude. Let's come back to that one.
Top 3 bands.
Isn't that all in the same thing?
Could be. I get that right.
Top 3 bands all time.
Van Halen is one of my top 3, without a doubt.
I have so many.
The Who is me, number 2.
Okay.
And I'll say, I don't know, maybe something that you're gonna laugh when you hear this, but Bruce Springsteen. I was raised on Springsteen, the New Jersey, New York thing.
Again, he takes a lot of crap for his political views, but other than that, it's Bruce Springsteen. It's like, come on, how do you?
I give him a pass.
Totally give him a pass.
I'm glad you brought this up, because I've been thinking about this. I give him a pass because he's a legend, but I don't like to go to a show, man, and somebody talks politics or religion to me, whether it's pro or con or red or blue or whatever it is, man. It's like, that's not what I'm paying for. I don't care what your political views are. Play the rock and roll, damn it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you are going to automatically alienate 50% of your crowd.
Without a doubt.
And again, that's just my mentality. I don't care. I have so many friends that are this way, that way. It doesn't matter. Trust me, a lot of them I liked better when I didn't know what their political views were, no matter who it is or what it is. I don't care about that. I never have. My life doesn't change because of a political view. So it doesn't matter to me, but I think you alienate half of your audience doing that.
But here's what I think happens, Timmy. I think the temptation is so strong. When you have a microphone in front of you and there's a bunch of people there, it's like, it's so tempting to say something. And like, even at the festivals,
I've never been tempted to have a mic in my face.
I never talk politics, religion on my Facebook and live, but when I do say something like, God bless America, God bless you all. Sometimes we'll do the Star Spangled Banner because my singer could do an a cappella. but I keep it sweet and keep it simple.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, if I wanted to say something, I would never do it, but you could because it's tempting.
Again, everyone's opinion matters, and everybody loves freedom for their own way and how they see it. Everybody wants the same thing, but everybody has different ways of getting
But isn't
there.
music the great common denominator? It brings it together. Like music takes all these political people and religious people and brings them together, man.
It's music
You
has
know?
always been that way for me. There is plenty of artists that I love, and their political views are so far one way or the other. I don't care, because to me, a song is how that person's going to interpret it. I don't care if it's red, white, gray, blue, purple, whatever. I can hear lyrics to a song and I'm going to interpret, no matter how it was written or how it was meant to be come across. I can find something else about that. And that
I agree.
it resonates with
But
me.
that's the beauty. That's the beauty of music is that, you know, remember when you were a kid, man, and you were like infatuated with the album cover?
Oh,
and you
dude.
put the record on, and then you would sit there and you would look at the album cover and the art, and then maybe read the lyrics, you know?
Though back then they didn't have lyrics. It was like you had to like actually, go through life thinking the lyric was
But there were
wrong.
liner notes. Some of them, I mean, maybe back then they had a bigger budget to put like things in there, like you got a poster with your record.
Right.
But like it was like an experience. Like the best times of my life when I was 13, 14, I'd sneak in my sister's room
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was told not to go in there.
Dude, that when
And
I
I'd put that needle down and then I'd listen to these records and I was on an amazing journey.
when I opened up the Kiss Alive 2 album and that inside was like, it was like,
cool.
it was like amazing. It's like,
That's
yeah,
cool.
that's what I want to blow shit up. I like that. That's a show.
Did you like Kiss Alive 2 better than Alive 1?
Personally, yes. Not that Alive 1 was bad. There again, Destroyer was great. That was the first album that really brought me into the Kiss world. I loved the Peter Criss persona at the time. It's like, yeah, that guy's, he's got it going on.
So this leads me to the Kiss question I ask everybody, okay? So I'm not going to say to you, love him or hate him or leave him, whatever. I'm going to say what impact, if any, has Kiss had on you, and what do you think they had on the music industry thereafter?
They were trend setting. Did they took everything at that time, and it's not like they probably learned it from Mott the Hoople and the New York Dolls that they probably were, because again they were all intertwined at that, the glam type thing. They just took it to the next level. I remember when Kiss was back in the day, that it was like you were trying to find out what these dudes looked like, because the rumor, they don't go anywhere without their makeup and this and that. It was the allure of who the fuck are these guys? And you had no idea until
because there was no YouTube and there was no internet.
There was no internet.
You saw them. That was it. Like you didn't.
The pictures of like, no, you're not getting me pictures. And it was like, oh, that's what that guy looks. Dude, you cannot deny Kiss's impact on music. I don't give a shit what anybody says that they suck or they don't suck or the greatest band in the world. It is Kiss, and if you are a fan of rock and roll, you cannot deny that Kiss is a huge part of that.
Is it safe to say, when you look at American bands, not British bands, American bands, that Kiss is one of the greatest American rock and roll bands of all time, up there with Aerosmith, maybe the Eagles,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, you can't not. Again, but their songs
Beach
were
Boys.
that's like AC/DC, not American technically. So it's like, but again, it's like they're a great band. You can't argue their impact on rock music. You just can't. It's fucking Kiss. I mean, come on. They influenced so many people, from early days. People may not just want to admit it. It's like, oh, I don't want Kiss.
I know, they want to be cool.
It's like, oh, Kiss sucks. They can't play their own instruments and their songs are bubblegum and it's like, dude, how many songs they got?
No one's going to ever, think that that's Lennon and McCartney, but there's good quality songs. There's hooks in there, right? Strong choruses, right?
Their stage show, they know how to put on a show. And that's me personally. And I've trust me, I've had conversations with Alicia about this, where I've seen so many different people, whether it's country or pop or new wave or whatever. I can tell you that one of the most boring people I've ever seen on the planet, who is arguably one of the biggest artists on the planet, is George Strait. I am not taking nothing away from George Strait for his musical and his writing ability and this and that. And Alicia loves George Strait.
He was in a movie, right? Didn't he have his own movie?
He did have a movie, Pure Country,
That's
whatever
right,
it was.
right. I saw that recently on cable.
So, not taking anything away of his ability and his songwriting and his impact on country music today. That guy is a goddamn stage loiterer. It is one of the most boring concerts I ever seen in my life. Going back to country, I saw Garth Brooks on the Little G tour, whatever that is, like right before the whole Chris Gaines thing where he tried to transpose himself, and he came out of the piano and flaming and all that stuff. And it was like a big show.
Right.
Because he was influenced by the Journeys and the Kisses.
That's right.
Because he wanted to, and Journey was my first concert.
He even covers Kiss songs sometimes.
Yes.
That's funny.
But again, though, that's the impact that somebody like Kiss had on a huge country artist. And so again, those things kind of like, I want to see a show. If I'm going to pay money, I want to see you running around. I want to see you mess up. I don't want to hear the record like the record. I want to hear you maybe do a different role, maybe do a different riff, maybe throw something a little more tasteful in that the producers didn't want on the record for whatever reason, but you're like, I'm going to throw this shit in now because I can. Great. If you're going to, you're not going to sing the lyrics exactly like they are, but you're at least going to, sing the damn melody. You're going to sing the hook. You're going to miss words. I mean, look at the Foo Fighters, for God's sakes. he screams shit all night long. At least he did. Again, it is what it is.
Well, listen, man, we've gone way over our 1 hour.
Did we?
Because it was fun. And I have to have you come back again because there's so much material.
Part two.
We haven't even talked about Journey yet. I was going to talk about Journey.
We haven't. We definitely need a two because we could